Pistols. The first weapon Leon gets his hands on is the standard handgun. In the classic, it's a slightly modified H&K USP. In the remake, Capcom was more faithful and modeled it as a Sig Sauer P226, which, fun fact, is one of the most widely used pistols by special forces in the real world, including the American Navy SEALs. It's nothing special on paper. Medium damage, decent fire rate, reasonable capacity. But it's that gun that stays with you through the tensest moments early in the game, when you're still learning that shooting a Ganado in the head doesn't necessarily mean killing it. Anyone who's played remembers. You land the shot, the guy staggers, and suddenly a massive plaga bursts out of his neck. The handgun is the weapon that teaches you that Resident Evil 4 isn't just any shooter. Now picture this. The merchant shows up, opens that big coat of his, and offers you the Punisher. In the classic, you got it for free by destroying blue medallions scattered across the map. 10 medallions, and the guy handed you the gun without charging a cent. And what made it special? Penetration. The shot goes through up to 2 enemies in a line. Sounds like nothing at first, but in tight corridors where the Ganados come at you in a straight line, this pistol becomes an efficiency machine. In the remake, the mechanics were tweaked, but the essence stayed the same. A utility weapon for those who like being strategic instead of just spraying bullets. But if the Punisher's strategy, the Red 9 is pure brutality. This one is inspired by the Mauser C96, the same pistol Winston Churchill used at the Battle of Omdurman in 1898, and that was immortalized in cinema as Han Solo's weapon in Star Wars, with some visual modifications. In the game, the Red 9 has the highest damage among all pistols. Fully upgraded, it hits almost as hard as some shotguns. The problem? The recoil is heavy and the aim wobbles a lot. But just attach the stock, the wooden shoulder brace that clips onto the grip, and the thing stabilizes like a precision weapon. The Red 9 is, to this day, the favorite pistol of the RE4 hardcore community. It's like that manual transmission car that takes more effort, but once you master it, you never let go. The Blacktail, on the other hand, is the pistol for those who want comfort. Inspired by the Springfield XD, it balances everything. Good damage, low recoil, generous capacity, and fast reload speed. If the Red 9 is the manual car, the Blacktail is the automatic with a smooth transmission. It doesn't stand out in anything dramatically, but it doesn't fail at anything either. For the player who wants a reliable pistol to carry from start to finish without overthinking it, this is the pick. And last among the pistols, the Matilda. In the classic, it appeared as an extra weapon after beating the game. The name is a direct reference to Resident Evil 2. Leon's pistol at the Raccoon City police station was called Matilda, paying homage to the film Leon the Professional by Luc Besson, where the protagonist names his favorite plant after it. In RE4, the Matilda has a 3-round burst. That means in a single trigger pull, 3 bullets come out nearly simultaneously. In the remake, it got a more aggressive visual identity and remains one of the most satisfying weapons to use, especially against bosses that need concentrated DPS in a short window of time. 5 pistols, 5 different combat philosophies, and we haven't even left the first category. Shotguns. If pistols are the bread and butter of RE4, shotguns are the Sunday barbecue. And Leon starts with a standard shotgun, a W870, based on the iconic Remington 870. And it's no exaggeration to say it's probably the most manufactured shotgun in history. Over 11 million units have been produced since 1950. In the game, it does exactly what you'd expect. Get close, pull the trigger, and everything in front of you turns into a rag doll. The pellet spread is wide, which means in group situations, like that classic cabin scene early in the game, it's the difference between surviving and becoming Ganado mincemeat. The riot gun is the natural upgrade. It's more compact, has a tighter spread, meaning the pellets concentrate more, and deals more damage per shot at medium range. If the standard shotgun is a machete, the riot gun is a katana. More precise, more elegant, but still absurdly powerful. In the remake, it got smoother reload animations and became the favorite of many speedrunners because of its combination of damage and handling. And then comes the Striker. Check this out. The Striker is based on the Armcell Striker, a South African rotary shotgun designed in the 1980s. Yes, South African. Its rotary drum holds up to 12 shells in the classic, and with upgrades, it goes up to 100. 100 in a shotgun. That makes absolutely no sense in the real world, but in RE4, it makes all the difference. The Striker is the shotgun for anyone who wants to turn the game into a playground of destruction. The fire rate is fast, the reload is decent, and at max capacity, you basically don't need another weapon. There's a reason the Striker is called the most fun gun in RE4. It turns any encounter into a brawling festival. Rifles. Now we slow things down a bit. Step away from the chaos of shotguns and into the surgical precision of rifles. The bolt-action rifle is the patient player's weapon. Visually based on a Springfield M1903 with a telescopic sight, it has extremely high damage per shot. But after each round, you need to manually cycle the bolt. That classic pull and push of the lever. In the game, that means every shot counts. Missed, you're vulnerable while you reload. Hit the head, instant dead ganado. It's the weapon that rewards those with sharp aim and punishes those who shoot in a rush. And there's something beautiful about it. In the game's tensest moments, when you're up in a tower and 20 enemies are closing in, using the rifle becomes almost a meditative experience. One shot, one kill. Breathe, readjust, fire again. The semi-auto rifle is the philosophical opposite. Inspired by the H&K SL8, it trades the bolt action's raw damage for speed. Each shot fires without needing the manual cycle, which means you can fire sequentially without taking your eye off the scope. Less damage per bullet, but more bullets per second. It's the weapon for those who want to use the rifle as an aggressive tool instead of a classic sniper. And in the remake, Capcom added the Stingray, a semi-automatic rifle with a futuristic look that blends characteristics of the two previous ones. It has intermediate damage per shot, but with a charge-based critical hit mechanic. If you hold your aim and wait for the indicator, the next shot comes out with multiplied damage. It's a smart addition that rewards both patience and aggression, depending on how you play. Magnums. Here we go. The moment the game stops playing around and puts real power in your hands. The Broken Butterfly is, without exaggeration, one of the most iconic weapons in the history of any shooter. Visually, it's based on the Smith & Wesson Model 500, which in the real world is frequently cited as the most powerful mass-produced revolver in existence. 500 grains of bullet leaving the barrel at nearly 600 meters per second. In the game, the Broken Butterfly appears hidden in a chest that a lot of people miss on their first playthrough. And when you fire it for the first time, the sound, the recoil, the damage, everything communicates one thing. This weapon wasn't made for regular enemies. It was made for bosses. A single shot from the Broken Butterfly takes more health off a boss than an entire pistol magazine. The downside? Extremely rare ammo. Every Magnum round you find is practically liquid gold. You don't waste it on just any ganado. You save it, you wait, and when El Gigante shows up or Verdugo decides to chase you, that's when. That's when you pull out the Broken Butterfly and settle things. The Killer 7 is the direct competitor. An equally devastating revolver, but with more precise aim and faster reload. The visual inspiration comes from the Ruger GP100, but with a stylized design. In the classic, it became available later in the game and was sold by the merchant. The community has always been divided. Broken Butterfly or Killer 7? The answer depends on your style. The Butterfly has more raw damage and can be found for free, but the Killer 7 is more consistent and controllable. It's like comparing a heavyweight boxer's punch to a martial artist's precise strike. Both knock you out, but in different ways. And then there's the hand cannon, the weapon you only unlock by completing Mercenaries mode with a top score on every map with every character. In the classic, that meant hours and hours of practice. And the reward? A revolver that, fully upgraded, gets infinite ammo and damage so absurd, it basically breaks the game. Visually, it's massive, disproportionately so. It's the ultimate trophy of RE4, the weapon that says, I truly mastered this game. It's not practical, it's not balanced, it wasn't made to be fair. It was made to be the ultimate reward. Submachine guns. From the raw power of magnums, we now move to pure speed. And first on the list is the TMP, Tactical Machine Pistol. Based on the Austrian Steyr TMP, it's compact, lightweight, and spits bullets like ammo costs nothing. The TMP is the most underrated weapon in Resident Evil 4. A lot of people ignore it because the damage per shot is low, but the secret is in the volume. With the stock attached and a capacity upgrade, it becomes a stun lock machine. Enemies get locked in their hit animation while you unload the entire magazine. Against Del Lago? Against the Novistadores, those invisible insects? The TMP shines where other weapons stumble, and its ammo is absurdly abundant. The game throws boxes of submachine gun ammo in your lap constantly. The Chicago typewriter is a completely different story. That's the classic nickname for the Thompson M1A1, the machine gun that became famous in the hands of American gangsters in the 1920s and 1930s. Al Capone, John Dillinger, Bonnie and Clyde, they all used the Thompson. The nickname Chicago typewriter came about because the sound of its bursts was compared to the noise of a typewriter, and Chicago was the epicenter of gang violence during the Prohibition era. In the game, it's an unlockable weapon with infinite ammo and absurd damage. Basically, once you unlock the Chicago typewriter, the game becomes a joke. Any enemy, any boss, any situation is solved by holding down the trigger. It's the definition of a power fantasy. In the remake, Capcom added the LE5, a modern submachine gun based on the FN P90, that futuristic-looking weapon you see in Stargate, in 2000s action movies, and in the hands of the American Secret Service. The P90 is famous for being specifically designed to penetrate ballistic vests, with an ergonomic design so unique it looks like it came out of science fiction. In the game, the LE5 fills a similar role to the TMP, but with a more modern touch and a slightly different fire rate. It's a welcome addition for anyone who wanted an SMG with an updated look. Special and explosive weapons. Now we enter the territory of the absurd, the ridiculous, the gloriously over-the-top. The rocket launcher is self-explanatory, a rocket launcher that eliminates any regular enemy with a single shot. But what few people talk about is that it also kills El Gigante, that huge boss that seems unbeatable the first time, with a single shot if you hit him at the right moment. It's the "I don't have the patience for this fight" weapon. The problem? It costs a fortune from the merchant, and it's disposable. One shot and it's done. The weapon disappears from your inventory. So the decision to buy a rocket launcher is always a calculation. Is it worth spending all that money to skip a tough fight? Depending on your style, the answer is a resounding yes. The Infinite Rocket Launcher is the unlockable version that removes that dilemma from the equation. Infinite ammo, infinite firing, infinite chaos. With this weapon equipped, Resident Evil 4 stops being a survival horror game and becomes a demolition simulator. Every room becomes an explosion. Every boss becomes a 30-second joke. It's absurd, it's ridiculous, and it's incredibly fun. And the Mine Thrower is the quirky cousin of this family. It fires mines that stick to enemies or the ground and explode after a few seconds, or when someone gets close. In the classic, when upgraded, the mines gained a homing property. They would move toward the nearest enemy before exploding. It's a niche weapon for sure, not for everyone. But for those who like setting traps and controlling the battlefield instead of just reacting, the Mine Thrower is gold. Knives. It might seem strange to dedicate an entire section to knives in a game full of firearms. But anyone who's played RE4 knows, the knife isn't just a last resort tool. It's part of the game's identity. Leon's standard knife in the classic was simple, straightforward, and surprisingly useful. Beyond melee damage, it was used to break crates without wasting ammo, cut Ashley's restraints, and, perhaps the most famous use, stab downed enemies on the ground to save bullets. The famous headshot, kick, ground stab combo is one of RE4's most satisfying mechanics and was born from the simple existence of this knife. Krauser's fighting knife appears briefly during the fight against Krauser himself, in that cinematic knife versus knife QTE. It's more of a narrative tool than a gameplay weapon, but it represents one of the game's most memorable moments. two former partners facing off in a deadly dance of blades. And in the remake, Capcom elevated the knife to another level with the Primal Knife. This is the unlockable knife that has infinite durability. In the remake, knives break with use, which added an entire layer of resource management. The Primal Knife ignores that mechanic. It never breaks. And more, it can be used to parry enemy attacks, creating a parry mechanic that didn't exist in the classic. This transformed the knife from a utility tool into a legitimate combat weapon. Some people have beaten the entire remake using only the Primal Knife. No pistol, no shotgun, no rifle, just the knife. And it worked. That says everything about how well Capcom nailed the redesign of this weapon. Extra and bonus weapons. To wrap things up, the weapons you don't find in Leon's main campaign, but that complete RE4's absurd arsenal. Ada's bowgun is Ada Wong's primary weapon in the Separate Ways missions, in the classic, and in the remake's expanded campaign. It's a compact crossbow with a laser sight, silent and precise. It fits Ada's stealthy style perfectly. While Leon solves everything with noise and brute force, Ada operates in the shadows. The bowgun doesn't have the firepower of a shotgun, but the ability to eliminate enemies silently adds a completely different dimension to the gameplay. The hand cannon in Mercenaries mode works as the trophy version we already mentioned, but it's worth reinforcing. Unlocking it is one of the hardest challenges in the game. Mercenaries in classic RE4 is basically an arcade mode where every second counts. Every shot needs to be efficient, and every mistake can cost you the top score.
Getting 5 stars with every character requires memorizing routes, understanding enemy spawns, mastering the combo system. It's a game within a game. And the hand cannon is the prize for mastering all of it. The Chicago typewriter deserves to be mentioned again because it appears in 2 contexts, as an unlock in Leon's campaign and as an unlock in Ada's missions. In Ada's case, unlocking the typewriter requires beating Separate Ways, which adds more hours of gameplay and more layers of story to the package. It's Capcom saying, play everything, unlock everything, and we'll reward you with unlimited power. And the Infinite Launcher closes out the package as the cherry on top of the cake of destruction. Infinite rocket ammo. It's the final word in the arsenal, the weapon that turns the player into a god of destruction and makes any replay a session of pure, consequence-free fun.